Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be taking you through how to make a beautiful top and skirt. This one is meant for the top, while this is for the skirt, okay? But I'll be working with the top first. So I'm going to keep this aside while I work on this. So I'm going to keep this also. So let's get started. I have two fabrics right here. Can you see? This is the right side. Now I'm going to measure what I have as the width. The width actually depends on who you are working for. I mean the size you're working for. Or this is just a little girl. I have 15 inches for the width. Then for the length, I have 11.5 inches. So right now, what I'm going to do is place, this is the wrong side, I mean the right side. I'm going to place the right side to the right side while I work on the wrong side, okay? So right now, I'm going to mark 1 inch from the edge here, and this 1 inch is going to serve as my elastic space or elastic allowance. So I mark 1 inch. So as you can see, I mark it on both sides. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and connect these points together. So it's better you use your ruler, okay? So I'm going to connect like I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I've connected. So the next thing is to repeat exactly what I have here on the other side also, okay? So it's very easy. So I'm going to also mark 1 inch, okay, on both sides. So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect these lines together, just like I did in the first place, okay? So I connect using my chalk, connect it together. So as you can see, I'm done connecting. So after this, the next thing I'm going to do right now, this is just a guide for me. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the line, the sides from the upper part to the down part. So I'll be right back. So as you can see right here, I've sewed the two sides. Can you see? I've sewed it. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and this 1 inch which I marked for the elastic, I'm going to sew it, leaving that space like this. Can you see? So I'm going to sew round, then I'm going to create a space here through which the elastic is going to pass, okay? So I fold it like this. Can you see? I'm going to use my pin to pin it down. So I proceed. So I'm going to pin it down like that, okay? I hope you can see what I'm doing right here. Making sure I use the pin to secure the elastic space, okay, the space created, okay? So that is what I'm doing right now. So this is just for better understanding. So I'm going to continue like this. Can you see? Can you see? I haven't pinned it down like this. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go to my machine and sew it like that. So, but I'm going to leave a little space through which my elastic is going to pass, okay? So that's the next thing. So right now I'm done with sewing it round, but like I said I'm going to leave a space, a little hole. Can you see? Here is the hole. So I left it like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to proceed to the next stage. I will still come back to this, but let's go ahead. So right now, from this edge here, I'm going to mark 4 inch on both sides. So I mark 4 inch. So I'm going to connect this line together. This line I'm marking is going to serve as a guide for me, so that by the time I stitch my elastic to it, it's going to give me that perfect straight uh, sewing, so that it won't fall apart, it won't fall from the line. So this line I'm marking is a guide for me, and it's very, very necessary. Okay, so can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it again like this, turn it to the other side like this. Okay, I'm going to repeat what I've just done. I mark 4 inch, okay, 4 inch on both sides. So I mark 4 inch, can you see? So I'll go ahead and connect these lines as well. So can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go to the down part here. I'm going to stitch the down part here, okay? Remember, I'm working on the wrong side of this fabric, wrong side. So right now, I'm going to sew the down part, fold this twice, one, then I refold it again like this, then I sew it round. I won't leave any space. I sew it round. Can you see? I'm done with sewing the down part. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to work on this line. So here is my elastic, which I'm going to sew round to the fabric, okay? So I'm going to measure the length I have here. So it depends on the waist you are working with. All you need to do, just measure the circumference of the waist. So it will determine the length of your elastic that you are going to use. So in this case, I'm using 20 inches. So what I'm going to do right now is to just go and mark the center point of this. So I'm going to mark, and I have it right here. This is the center point. So I will also do it to the other side. So I mark the center point, and I have it right here. Okay. This point is going to serve as a guide for me. Do you understand? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to fold my elastic into two equal parts like this, equal half. So here I'm going to mark it at this center, because it's going to serve as a guide for me. So after marking it, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to refold it again to another half. So I'm going to refold it again. You remember I folded it once, that's why I'm having two. So I refold it again. By the time I refold it again, you can see it's 4. I have 4. So I'm going to mark the center again here. I mark the center both inside and outside like this. So as you can see right here, I have 1, 2, 3. So which means I've divided this elastic into 4. 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to open it like this, making sure I don't sew the other side. So I'm going to start with one piece, okay? So I'm going to place it like this. Can you see what I'm doing right here? I place it like this. So I'm going to sew. You can see this is the mark for the first one. So and this is the center mark for the fabric. So I'm going to extend. By the time I begin to sew, I'm going to extend the elastic to make this point here. So like that. This one will meet the edge here. Can you see this one? I'm going to extend it to meet here. So that's why how I'm going to sew it round. Okay, so I'll be right back. So as you can see, this is what I have. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my elastic at the upper part. You know, I left a space here. So right now, I have my elastic here. Okay, and the length of this elastic is can you see, is 18 inches. So right now I'm going to insert the elastic through that space created. Okay, so like this I'm going to pass it. So I'm going to pull it to make sure it rhymes, to make sure it goes equally. Okay, so that one part will not be tight while the other part loose. So I'll make sure that it goes round on the neckline. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to place it on each other like this. Then I'm going to stitch like 3 times, okay, just to secure it. Now as you can see, I've stitched it like 3 times. Okay, so right now I'm going to make sure it goes round very well and is equally distributed. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, that little space, I'm going to stitch it up. And you see I've stitched it up. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark where my handle is going to be. So on my right hand side I'm going to mark 2 inch. So I mark 2 inch both back and front. So here also I'm going to mark 2 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to work on my handle pieces. So I have it right here. I have 2 pieces. So I have the width to be 1.5. You could make it 1.25. Okay, then I have the length 9 inches. Okay, so I'm going to stitch. So I stitch from one edge to the other, and I also do likewise to the second one from one edge to the other. So I stitch it like that. So as you can see right here, I've sewed the 2 sides. So the next thing is to turn it inside out. I'm going to turn it to the right side. Okay, okay. you see? After turning it like that, then I'm going to bring this back. So I'm going to, you can see the center, that is the sewing line, is going to be inside. So right now I'm going to place where I mark. Can you see? I'm going to place it like this. So I stitch it, then I come like this. Placing the other one inside. So I stitch it. So by the time I stitch it, everything, the center will not be visible outside. This is how it's going to be. Okay, and that is what I will also do to the second side. So I stitch. So I'm going to stitch. Okay, so as you can see, our top is finally ready. Can you see? You will discover that the center, the sewing part is inward. You can see it's inward. So on both sides, can you see? So it's ready. You can see how beautiful it is. So the next thing right now is to go ahead and work on the skirt. So for the skirt, I also have two pieces. Okay, so two pieces. So I'm going to measure the width of this skirt. So it actually depends on who you're working with. Okay, so I place it like this. So I'm going to measure what I have. I have about 33. I have like 33 inches or so. So I'm going to measure what I have as the length, 10 inches for the length. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and, so the first thing I will be marking is just 1 inch. So I mark 1 inch first. After marking 1 inch, so I'm now going to proceed into marking 2 inches. Okay. So I'm going to proceed with 2 inches. So I'm going to remove out of this to give me just 1 inch. So I'm going to work on this. The first one is 1 inch. Okay. So I'm going to proceed into marking with marking 2 inches. So I'm going to proceed. So you can see excess. So I'm going to reduce this part. So right now, having done with that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to work on the first piece. So this is the first one. So I'm going to pleat it to this side, to my left hand side, like this. So I make sure it marks. I place it on the mark which I make. Okay. So the mark is a guide for me. And you see, so I'm going to leave this one, then I proceed into these two. So I place it on the mark. So I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to work on this. I work on this. You can see that I'm leaving 2 inch interval. So the accumulation of that those the inches I'm leaving is going to serve as my waistline, okay, waist circumference, okay, at the end of the day. So I'm going to kiss this together. I'm using a kissing pleat. We have types of pleating, okay, but this particular one is very very beautiful and I love it so much, so much, okay. So I'm left with just one, so I'm going to place it on this side. So can you see? So what I did here is what I'll be repeating here. After that, then I'm going to stitch the edge, okay. So I place it, making sure the mark touches each other, okay, because like I said that mark is a guide, it's a guide, and it must not be altered. So right now I move to this, I leave this, I place it on each other like this. Can you see? Then I pin it down. So I work on this. I work on this. So I work on this. Okay. Please just make sure you follow what I'm doing right here. When you follow it strictly, you discover that it's something very easy to make, not difficult. And I'm left with one. So I'm going to place it, overlap it to my right hand side. Can you see? I'm also done with the second piece. So the next thing is to go ahead and sew the down part, okay? So stitch the down part, stitch the down part, okay, like this.